Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. Tonight is a new episode of The Bachelorette, episode 2 of Jen as she searches for love in Australia, down under. And love lasts not always. But sadly for Rachel, Lindsay, and Bryan Abasolo, their marriage did not stand the test of time, although the price tag continues. As we've been covering, Rachel is now forced to pay, at least temporarily, $13,000 a month to Bryan. We'll get into, I guess, the judge's decision to split the bill. He was asking for $16,000 and change. She offered $10,000. I don't know how you haggle in these types of negotiations. He was claiming she made $60,000 a month. She said she had $50,000 in business expenses, so she couldn't afford to pay more than $10,000, whatever it is. This is why the judge looks at their information and makes their best judgment. So can you appeal this? I have no idea. So we'll get into this story. Pretty quiet weekend, wasn't it? I say that with snark. It was a wild weekend, of course. President, we know what happened there. I worry about which keywords will get flagged if I say them. I'm not going to talk about it here, but I also discussed Richard Simmons, RIP, and Shannon Doherty, and all the other entertainment news from over the weekend on the podcast. And you can go check that out whenever you want. I do it mornings and evenings. A lot of people have said, Dave, you're better than Bachelor. You need to cover other things. Well, now we do that. Not just Bachelor. We cover all your Bachelor Nation news in a quicker, less jabber-jawed form, along with all of your other entertainment, pop culture, what's good on Netflix this week, Christmas movies, and the Olympics. Do I have that? Nope, that's not it. I've got the Olympics button over here somewhere. Either way, the point is it's all there for you if you want to be a part of that community. We appreciate you. There it is. All of your Olympics news from 2024 I'll be covering, from who's going to be sprinting in the 100 meters to whatever, who got knocked up in the Olympic Village. We'll have it all. Rush Hour podcast every morning, every afternoon. Go check that. All right, so, hey, we got to pay the bills, right? Link in the description if you want to know. Some people, I don't know how to use it. You can use it on your desktop. You can use it on your phone. I recommend your phone. It's available in every car, and all of that, and it's free. All right, Bachelorettes, Rachel Lindsay ordered to pay estranged husband, Bryan Abasolo, $13,000 per month in temporary support. So I guess this information came out on Saturday, so I guess this is how you, and by the way, In Touch Weekly, Style magazine, like Better Homes and Garden. No, none of the bigger gossip magazines have picked this up, which makes me wonder if this is a new motion or something part of the old motion. Anyway, let's get into it. According to court documents obtained by In Touch, a hearing was held in LA Superior Court this week as part of the ex's bitter divorce. Rachel and Bryan faced off in court with their lawyers. At the hearing, the judge heard testimony from both sides before making his decision on Bryan's motion for temporary support. The order read, Rachel is ordered to pay Bryan temporary spousal support in the sum of $13,257 per month. So I guess my question is, how much would that be like daily? What's the daily? He's got to see here. So if I take, let's just round it to 13,257 divided by 30. So about $440 a day. That'd be nice, right? $400 here every day. Wake up, $440, $441. The judge did not rule on whether Rachel will have to pay retroactive support. I guess that means support for the last 5 months or so or 6 months that they have been separated. In addition, Rachel was ordered to pay Bryan's lawyer $15,000 to cover legal fees and another $5,000 to cover his forensic expert expenses. As In Touch previously reported, Bryan has been pleading for support for weeks. In court documents, the chiropractor claimed he earned $1,700 per month from his work and various side businesses. He said he wanted to move out of the home he shared with Rachel, but did not have the funds to find a proper home. Again, I know this probably doesn't look good. This is like standard lawyer stuff. You're not gonna say, no, I've been great. I crash at my buddy's house. No. You're gonna play victim as much as possible. And maybe victim's the wrong word. You're gonna play like you need the support. Otherwise, why would you be asking for it? Bryan told the judge, our current living situation is very awkward and strained. We generally do not even talk to each other and try to avoid each other. Rachel has security cameras outside. Only Rachel has the credentials to the security security cameras, and Rachel can monitor my comings and goings. Okay. I want to move out of our family residence as soon as possible, but maintaining our standard of living is not financially feasible at this time. Rachel fired back, saying, since we separated, since you've been gone, I have paid 100% of the mortgage, property taxes, homeowners insurance, maintenance and repairs, utility, and cost of care for our pets, including their food, medicine, daycare, boarding, vet bills, pet insurance, on Bryan's behalf while he refuses to vacate my home. Yeah, if they do a lot of traveling, I mean, the daycare for a dog, that's a lot. She added, except for paying our gardener and 50% of our housekeeping costs, Bryan continues to reside in my house without contributing any funds to the carrying costs. That's what's interesting. She calls it in her house. Again, all I know, and I kind of like keeping it this way, is what I read from the blogs. I'm just sharing my opinion. And if anyone doesn't like it, well, by golly, create a YouTube channel, hit the upload button. You know, it's free to make videos and people can share whatever else they are gleaning from this. But I'm just trying my best. I'm a simple man just trying my best here. She agreed that she should pay temporary spousal support, but believed Bryan's income should be imputed based on his earning capacity in the amount of $13,000 per month, which is reasonable given Bryan's ability to earn working full-time prior to any order of spousal support payable from Lindsay to Bryan. Rachel said she believed spousal support to Bryan should be set at $9,882 a month based on her $61,000 a month income. Good golly. Everybody go on this this should be used when they try to get new bachelorettes. Well, Rachel Lindsay makes $61,000. So what is that? 61,600 plus so 720,000 a year. Not bad. And you know what I said too? I've always said this. If you were on The Bachelor or Bachelorette, I've said as a lead, you probably make $1,000 for every follower you have. So if we look at Rachel Lindsay, she has 837,000 followers. She claims to make around 720. You know, not bad. Now, if you're Hannah Brown, I'm just saying, I'm just going based on numbers, like people that are in the steroid era of how many, 2.7. No wonder she didn't want to do her podcast. She can literally write a book, probably get on a couple phone calls with the ghost author, and all of a sudden she can literally, and pardon my French here, shit out mortgage payments. You know what I mean? Like, it pays to be on TV. Either way, I wonder if, not to speak ill of people, but Hannah's guy's like, all right, do we have a prenup? She's talking to Bryan. How much can I get per month? $441. So just for fun, just for fun. And again, I wouldn't speak ill on anyone. These are hypotheticals. But if Hannah has 3 times the following that Rachel has, you could imagine that Hannah might be making 3 times as much money as Rachel. And she could even be making more than that. So you could say that, well, if they did not have a prenup and they were on the rocks, that Hannah's man could possibly get $1,200 a day. I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is the world I think we should all live in. But if you're not able to make money, and for Bryan's purposes of leaving his previous job for somewhere else, which I guess people have a problem with this. And this is where I get into trouble. I'm just trying to take out gender, and I'm just trying to look at the facts, because that's what the court cares about, Bryan filed for divorce from Rachel on January 1st. The couple got married in 2019 and split on December 31st. So what it comes down to is she makes $61,000 a month. I don't think she's refuting that. I think she said her expenses are $50,000 a month, which, by the way, maybe is just making high mortgage payments. Is she paying some of the principal off? I have no idea. So some of your comments are interesting because I'm not taking them personally, but they're just interesting. So someone said, the narrative about what Bryan gave up seems weird to me. They've been married for 4 years without children. So it's not like he was at home caring for their children. It's hard to believe that an educated man with a successful practice couldn't establish sustainable work in 4 years simply because he relocated to another state. Well, I think that's a little complicated, and I don't know the scenario, but let's just look at it, right? Let's just look at it. And, people, some of the comments will go, Dave, you're biased. I can't really respond to that. Sure, but I'm here trying to be as objective. You're so biased. Well, then why are you even watching? You know what I mean? And again, I don't even know if this is true, but if it were true that 4 years ago is when Bryan uprooted and moved to LA, you had did you guys know about this? A pandemic hit, which affected businesses for a long time. Now, maybe Bryan got PPP loans, not familiar. He would be in the perfect candidacy for people that needed them. Brick and mortar companies that needed to keep their payroll going in order to stay afloat because they weren't getting the normal traffic they would normally get, right? And maybe he was still in Florida when that hit. I don't know the math of all of that. It hasn't been brought up into the discussion here. But is it safe to say that a highly competitive job market like chiropractor would be hard to build it's not like, okay, if you were a pharmacist and you worked in Florida and you moved to Los Angeles for your partner, you could probably find a job as a pharmacist. We see this in Bachelor Nation happen. Braden, our good pal Braden, is a nurse, and he found a job in Nashville so he could move in with Christina, his fiance, and all that jazz, right? Bryan is a business owner. So everyone's saying, well, couldn't he just pick up and get a new job? I don't think people that say that know what it is to be a business owner. And in Rachel's document, she said, well, Bryan could have literally made more money working at McDonald's. And it's like, sure, but also while they were in their relationship, did Rachel want Bryan working at McDonald's? No, I'm sure she wanted him to get his business off the ground. That did not necessarily happen. Could you make the argument, Bryan's just a bad businessman? He seems to have had a healthy business in Florida before he moved. Maybe it's tough to find asking these questions is not pimping for somebody or simping for somebody. It's just what we do on this channel. And what I've learned, and I'm just saying this proactively, leave a comment. I'm probably not going to read them. But what I've learned is that sometimes people enjoy when you dig deep into conversations and take it to the next level of critical thinking. And sometimes people don't like that when it doesn't fit their narrative. Liz said this: the focus on Bryan losing business is so exaggerated, but intentional, in my opinion, to paint him as a victim and garner sympathy. Well, I don't know if you're talking about me. I'm just reading the court documents. As far as Bryan goes, yes, he's trying to paint himself that way because he is trying to get what he believes is the fair amount of money that they made while they were married. If you don't like this, you need to get some sort of prenuptial agreement, right? This is just how it works. Separate from if they had kids, then it would be longer. Of course he lost business because of the move, as anyone would. Okay, all right, so we can admit to this. He lost business as anyone would. So does that mean you agree that because he lost business moving for her, it's almost like you're making my point. They just don't like it. He had both time and money to recoup his losses. I don't know. When you're in a business, 4 years is very short to rewrite, especially if you involve the pandemic. He had an even greater advantage over other chiropractor businesses, his large following. I don't know about that either because, it's a brick and mortar. So if you have a big following that's spread out across North America, how many potential clients do you have? Again, maybe you could argue, a good businessman could have had his I don't know enough about the chiropractic practice to know, but I'll tell you this, plenty of businesses, like if this was a restaurant, you would not be making this excuse. Plenty of people know that restaurants fail most of the time. I watch The Bear, a very stressful show about restaurants, so I know a thing or two. Now, I've worked in restaurants. I have a family that had restaurants that shut down. So restaurants are brick and mortars that have a high operating cost, and it's tough to break even with them. I'm sure the same could be said for a chiropractor who, comes to Los Angeles in a world of lots of chiropractors. All right, I'm done making my point. I think I've prosecuted my point as best I can, which is that the judge is going to decide how much money she makes after expenses. The judge is going to decide how much money he makes after expenses, and the judge is going to split the difference for 2 years, and then they move on with their lives. And if Bryan will have to decide, will the $411 a day for the next 2 years, if that's what it is, will that be worth it for whatever reputational harm he got from this? My guess is yes, Because my guess is all the people that were Team Rachel weren't going to like him regardless. I see this as one of those scenarios like I see with like American politics where like people have their sides and no matter what you're going to do is going to change them. So whatever. That's how I see it. If you enjoy my talking to you, I've got a great podcast for you to check out. It's called it's called The Rush Hour. We called it Bachelor Rush Hour, but we've switched the name as we've branded it as a friendly place to go see all of the other news. We'll have more this afternoon on the Rush Hour podcast. We'll see you then.